Okay, so I'm just going to start by asking each of you to say your name and your grade level. And have you all been here at June Jordan the whole time you've been in high school? No. Okay, so maybe your name, grade level, and how long you've been at June Jordan.
My name is Fabiola, and I'm a senior, and I have been in Jordan for 2 years.
Okay, thanks.
I'm Nikki. I'm a sophomore, and I've been here since the beginning.
Okay.
My name is Jamarc. I'm a senior, and I've been here for the whole 9th grade year to 12th grade year.
Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm a junior, and I've been here since my start of high school.
Hi, my name is Renz Andrew. I'm a senior, and I've been here throughout all my 4 years.
Why'd you guys come to June Jordan? You got a lot of choices about where you could go to school.
Well, I kind of didn't have a choice. I got transferred from ISA high school, and this school is the closest one. So, yeah, my mom picked this one.
I wanted to have a really small school rather than a bigger school because it made me really scared to have a bigger school than a small school, and it's college oriented. So yeah, that's what I wanted to go to.
I didn't have a choice, actually. It was the only school that was assigned to me. And after I went to June Jordan for the first year, I was like, I wanted to stay here. I didn't want to transfer out.
All right.
June Jordan wasn't my first choice. I actually had another school that was my number one, but it was my number two. And honestly, I feel like it worked out a lot better just because of the placement of where the school's at and just how it works around me. So I feel like it all worked out.
Honestly, I didn't really wanted to go to June Jordan because it was the only choice I had. However, for the first month I wanted to transfer out, but then I grew through the social justice aspect that they were teaching, and I began to love it, and that's what kept me going into school.
Okay, it's interesting. Most of you doesn't sound like had a real strong pull to come here originally. June Jordan School for Equity, that word is kind of confusing to people. What does that mean to you, equity?
I can jump on that. The reason why it's School for Equity is because it's based on people's needs. It's not all equal because, as everyone knows, people come from different backgrounds and everyone has a different story. So the reason why it's School for Equity is because we're trying to help everyone to suit their own needs and personal needs, not just flooding people in and flooding people out, as a lot of other schools might do.
Nice. Any other thoughts?
Just to add on to that, in this school, not a lot of people are in different classes. Like freshmen and sophomores get the same classes, like their humanities class are mixed. And so in other schools, they would be separated. So 9th graders would be with themselves and 10th graders would be themselves. And in math classes, some wouldn't be in geometry and some wouldn't be in advanced algebra in 9th grade year. They would all be consisted of in one class. And so in the sense of equity, everyone's getting their needs, their A through G requirements. That's what I love about the school.
Nice. Any other thoughts about equity?
Equity for me means that people work together, not just the teacher provides you something. That's what you get. It's about working all together. As Ren said, that there's 9th and 10th graders are all together. So it's a mix of people who knows a lot of things and people who are new. So the 10th graders actually help the 9th graders with things that they don't know. And the teachers could guide the 10th graders where to go. So it enhances the leadership skills that the 10th graders need to go on to SI, which is 11th and 12th graders. So that's what I really like about this school, that it's not about just the teacher and the students, it's about students and students with the teachers helping all of them together as a whole community.
Social justice is a part of the purpose of the school. What does that mean to you, social justice?
Well, to me, it means that we have to be aware of what's going on around us in our community and actually be part of it and do something about it. It's not all about talking about it, it's being part of it, joining groups, going to I went to the school board and talked to the leaders there and tell them what was going on in our community, in our school. So basically it's doing something, doing action instead of just being, okay, yeah, I know this is going on, but I'm not going to do nothing about it, but talk about it. No, do something about it. Be part of it. And for me, I feel like it's just action, doing something.
Nice.
I also like to piggyback on that. Like how Fabi said, it's learning about the social injustices that happen in our communities, but also how to take action on it. And also just to, I don't know how to say it, but to either educate other people about it as well.
To continue off what he was saying, like Fabi said also, just the way that we teach here, like Renz pointed out before, it's not just the textbook and go. It's not just a textbook and go school. Like, we don't just read the textbook, because people can pick and choose how they want to write that textbook. So you might not get the whole big idea or the whole picture of what it is that you're learning. Like, we talk about real world situations that everyone has to deal with, and it's not just like all hidden behind some difficult words in a textbook and then doing a worksheet and memorizing something. We're actually learning at this school, and it's just a great process, I would have to say, with the whole purpose of social justice at this school.
So tell me more about how social justice shows up. You've mentioned a couple of things so far. One that is not just the ideas, but it's actually doing something with the ideas out in the real world. Another thing, it's not just reading the textbook, but it's actually maybe thinking a little more critically about the words behind it, engaging. Tell me more, if I walked into a classroom at June Jordan, what would I see that would be different or that would actually show social justice in action?
Yeah, if you walk into a classroom in June Jordan, you'll see a lot of discussion-based topics. So a lot of teachers will have discussions about a certain topic, either in a book or in a piece of history. And also I know from my American Democracy class, we're actually able to choose our portfolio or our writing assignment that we're going to write for the semester. And that's not something that you usually have in other high schools.
Mm-hmm.
And just to add on to what Jamarc said, it's when we're writing our writing assignments, it's not just the prompt that we're trying to answer, but in our conclusions we would write, how is this relevant to the real world, and what are we going to do about it? That is the main question that we always want to try to answer in chemistry, in science, math classes, any class you take at June Jordan. That is the main question, and it applies. Everything that we learn here applies to our daily lives.
And another thing about what Jamarc was saying, if you walk into a classroom, you're gonna see a lot of discussion, and I kind of find that to be helpful, because going throughout like school in my life, classrooms were meant to be quiet. Classrooms were meant to be teacher talking. Classrooms were meant to be students don't have opinions. But here at June Jordan, it kind of just flips that whole notation and thought behind it, because if you walk into a classroom, I mean, the students are gonna be talking more than the teacher. And I find that to be really powerful, because we are teaching each other in that sense, and we're helping each other. We're sharpening each other, like men sharpen men, and steel sharpens steel, as you could say. But it's just a big old a community feel at the school, especially with the classrooms, because the teaching is way different than anywhere else I've seen. So
I would also say, the things that we read in class is not a textbook. Like, it's not through the perspective of people winning. It's the perspective of people who lost their culture, who are like oppressed. And last year we were learning about World War II, and it's not just about the Americans, the Soviet Unions. It's actually people like the Philippines who helped the U.S. It's about people of color who are actually like wanting to revolt against, to have a revolution, to have their lives. So it's not just about like white people seeing things through their perspective, but people of all color. And we would like interpret that in class and be like, how would you feel about that? Do you have any ancestors who felt like that? Do you feel like that in your class? And we would write about that in our portfolio, and we would present that to our families, to our community, and we would actually learn about real things in real life instead of like memorizing dates in history. You know what I mean? Yeah, so yeah.
Thank you for that. A couple of you mentioned portfolio. Tell me what that means.
Basically, what we do in every class is that we have to write, like, for when it comes to history or American democracy, we got to write an essay of 4 pages, and we have to pick up the topic. But we all the class has to come to an agreement on what topic we have to talk about. So that was pretty hard, because everybody had a different opinion. Like, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. And it was like we couldn't be democracy, because we were talking about how democracy could be oppressive to the minority. So we had to all come to agreement, and there was this one person who didn't agree with us. They're like, no. And we had to talk to him, and then we had to change the name, and we had to do something to actually, so we can all come to agreement and be like, okay, we got it. This is what we're gonna talk about. So I felt like that was really powerful when it comes to choosing our portfolio, because I felt like we got better skills when it comes to like making decisions, because everybody was like, nah, let the majority win, like we pick it, who cares about the minority, like let us be the choice. But at the same time, it's like you get to put yourself in that position. What if I was that one person? How would I feel? Like I would feel oppressed. So just putting yourself in other people's positions in some like really like a small like options and like events, like yeah.
She was talking about a lot about how the portfolio like feels and stuff, but just to come back to the main question, the portfolio, it's basically a big assignment. Like you work in class and you talk about whatever you're talking about, whether it's math, science, history, or whatever subject, and you come to do a big basically a big project at the end, and those add up when you're a freshman. So you have to do probably about 2, I would say, for a year in every class, and then do about 2 again in every other grade. But at the end of your 10th grade year, you have to present the portfolios, which is a presentation. And you have a committee and basically like a board. So you have your 9th and your 10th grade work, and you have to present it to your family, to your teachers, and there's a reader. And they would ask you questions about what you're presenting, and you would have to defend it and actually show like what you're learning if you learn the stuff that you were supposed to learn in your first years. And then you have to pass it, and then you're allowed to move on to SI, which is 11th, 12th grade. So it's just a transition. You have to do it at the end of your 12th grade year too, and able to graduate on stage, pretty sure. So.
And I would like to add on to that. It's a way to prepare you for college. I know that in college, when you write a thesis paper, you have to have a whole board, have a discussion or like debate about your thesis. So it's just a way just to prepare you for college. While like in other schools, they might not have that kind of preparation. They're kind of like fumbling around with it. While at June Jordan, we actually have some knowledge about how a thesis presentation would work.
Cool. So is this in addition to or in place of tests?
In a way.
It varies in classes, because in math class, some teachers would give you a test in the end, and some would give you a portfolio. So just this week, students were finishing up their math portfolio in advanced algebra, and probably at pre-calculus, you guys are, no? Strike that. But yeah, they were doing a rat portfolio and how how rats are populating each day or each month. And so it's pretty interesting. And then they would have to connect it back to the real world and how population is rising and like continue to rise. And then, it's ironic enough, and also a coincidence. But, coming back to all these thesis stuff and everything and whatnot, in different schools you would have to sit down and things like that and be quiet. But in this school you would have to do a real solid discussion to get an A in the class. So that's what's most striking about June Jordan.
Well, yeah, in my opinion, I feel like it's kind of a replacement to tests. And for me, that's wonderful because I hate testing. I do bad at testing. So I feel like doing portfolio is way better because I could express my feelings in that portfolio. And if I don't understand something, I could go to a teacher and they help me. And I feel like the best thing is that you can have time to revise it. So if you did bad the first time, they help you out and you can do it again. And then if you you can do better in the other one. So I feel like that's really powerful and helps you a lot. It's not like, okay, I turn it in, you got an F, you got an F. It's not like you have to revise it 2 or 3 times, right? For you to get the official grade that you have in the portfolio. So yeah, that helps me a lot because I hate testing.
And also, test does not calculate all of your intelligence. It only tests your memorizing skill. Do you actually know this equation to answer one question? Portfolios for me, it's it tests all of your intelligence through your 9th and 10th grade year. Do you actually know oppression? Do you know this topic that we talked about? It's not just did you memorize this date in history. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel like. That's why I think portfolios are test in a way. Is both of those terms.
You're saying it's a better test because you're
Yeah.
having to show that you really know it. You're not just checking a multiple choice.
And another thing about portfolios is that they are going to be tough and challenging, and so you can't really do it on your own. So this kind of helps people come out of their shells and maybe go ask that friend for help and maybe go ask that teacher for help instead of like other things. Like if you were doing a test, you have the book and that's all you need. Like you study the questions, you study the formula. But with this, you actually need to get into that deeper thinking and that critical thinking and maybe have a deeper discussion with somebody, maybe one of your peers or your teachers. So I feel like that's a really powerful thing because it helps a lot of people. Like as I've been at this school, I've seen a lot of people grow out of their shell and maybe get a little bit more open and expressive with what they want to say, and like that's just one of the best things that I've seen growing up in my young life. So
Tell me more about this idea. Like you had mentioned, you went to speak to a school board. Is that encouraged, or is that built into the program in any way, that learning doesn't just happen in the class, that in some way you're actually doing something outside of school? Any other examples?
Personally, I work closely with the Filipino Community Center down at Mission, and when the typhoon hit, I gathered a bunch of my friends to fundraise for the Philippines for typhoon victims, and I think that's one of the things that that June Jordan teaches you on how to be involved with the community, and also there's a class here called MICA. I forgot what it stands for, but it basically helps you find internships in community organizations to, work closely with volunteer work outside of school.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Anybody else did an internship through that program?
I'm currently with Summer Search right now, and that helps me. It's gonna help me get to college, and they'll follow me through college. And that's just with our college access center that we have here at our school. They just provide you with as many internships or anything. They open all the doors for you. Like you just gotta walk through them. So I didn't even know about Summer Search, but I'm still currently with them. I just finished up my revision paper that I had from my summer trip. And that's like a really big opportunity that I probably wouldn't have heard about or even known about if I went to another school. So they kind of push you to get outside your comfort zone and maybe do things that's not just related to school, and maybe go out there and really see what the real world is like, because in a couple of years we're going to be there. So, I mean, we need to be ready and prepared.
Talk to me about relationships between students and between students and teachers, and what the school culture feels like in that way.
When it comes to a student and teacher, you can have a really real relationship. I feel like honesty is like really important in the school. So like I could feel like I'm not afraid of saying, you know what, like this is not what I like, or you doing this wrong, or I can't understand what you're doing. Like I'm not afraid of saying that. They kind of like understand you, and they don't judge you, or like, I mean, don't be rude about it. But it's just like they help you to do like, to actually be honest. I feel like when it comes to students and teachers, I could be really honest about my feelings and my opinions about it. Like I don't have to hold nothing in. And when it comes to students, we have a lot of like, when it comes to programs, when there's, if anything, there's an argument or somebody is just not getting along with someone, we have programs, that we can help them, peer mediation. I'm part of it, so I have been peer mediation, and we have them to like, we get them together and we're like, okay, so this is what's happening. Let's tell me your story, tell me your part of the story, and then we come in an argument, like we come in agreement. So I feel like we have a strong community here. We don't have a lot of arguments. I mean, there's, people that still gonna, fight anything like that. Yeah, it is high school, but at the same time, I feel like this is my second high school that I come, and it's really, like, it's really nice. Because the one I used to go, there was always, like, everyday fighting. And I didn't get along with my teachers. They didn't help me a lot, So I feel like here, it's kind of like, at the same time, it's like I hate getting help with teachers, but it's like I have to, and I'm not afraid of doing that. And when it comes to personal things, I feel like I can go talk to him and be like, oh, I'm not feeling good. It's happening to me. Can you please give me my time? And they will understand. So that's great.
It's my second year here in June Jordan. I have not seen like a lot of really big fights. It's because like if there was a fight happening, the next day we would have as a whole school, we would go to a town hall and we would talk about that fight. Like what would happen? What could you do better the next time? So it's kind of like not closing the doors on people. Like if there was a fight happening in another school, they would just like, oh, we're not going to talk about that fight. we actually, yeah, they would suspend it and nobody would know what happened. So that's where like rumor starts and like, another big fight would happen. But in June Jordan, we would talk about it and we would say like, this is what happened wrong. They would say sorry to people who were hurt and who got like distracted, and like it wouldn't happen again because they would talk about, and like those people who would like were arguing, they would talk to like their students, to each other and with their parents, so it wouldn't happen again. So, yeah.
And here at June Jordan, we have what's called an advising program. It's our advisors. They're basically our teachers, and since it's split up into JI and SI, which is 11th grade, and JI students would get their JI teachers, and SI students would get their SI teachers, and we get a greater glimpse of how our advisors work closely with us, and we can talk about like how our day was going and things like that, and then what we were having problems with, and they just help us get there to our final goal at the end of the high school career.
The advisors are like, is that a group of students with a teacher that stays together?
You could basically look at it as homeroom, I would say. But an advisory is where you have the people in your same grade are generally close to your same grade. And 9th and 10th graders have the same advisor. But once you get to 11th, you're only with 11th graders. And you're surrounded with people like you and with a teacher that is focused on people like you, not focused on trying to be everybody's like a 12th and 11th, 10th. Like, so they're just focused on you. So you get a lot of attention and stuff that you would need, the resources that you need. So.
And just to add on what Brandon said, JI advisors only focus on portfolios rather than college stuff. And then once you get to 11th and 12th, you start working on your college stuff with your advisors. You really work closely in how to get to college.
What would I see in terms of racial dynamics between students and teachers?
What you would see at the school, you see a lot of colored people, a lot of minorities. We do have white people here, but generally it's not like other schools. Like you go to other schools and you would either see like a big population of one kind, like, but here, I mean, it's a lot of colored people, but we're not. It's not just like, oh, white people can't come or anything. But I mean, we are a school for social justice, and we're small. A lot of people don't know about us, so. Normally kids come here who would be like they're getting ran out or whatever, but I mean they come here and then they see what the dynamic of the school is, and if you were to look at it from the outside looking in, you wouldn't know what it's like if you're not going to this school and actually a part of this program and system that we have going here. But generally it's a lot of colored people and minorities at the school. So
Yes, I'll also say like the teachers here are also people of color as well. Most of them are. So it's just like they can understand where you're going through in life, about like racial dynamics between like either in their own neighborhood and stuff like that. And also, it's just like there's not as many racial tensions here at this school as you might say in other schools where like there's this one ethnic group of students fighting against another ethnic group of students about something, and we're able to like get a better understanding of one person's culture through the curriculum and stuff like that, so we can better understand each other.
Mm-hmm. What about bisexual, gay, lesbian students? Are they out? How are they treated if they're out?
Throughout the years I've been here, I've known a lot of bisexual and gay students at our school, and I mean that's all it is. I mean we don't take it farther than that. If that's what they like, that's what they like, and I mean, who are we to judge them for that? And we don't make them feel any less of a student or a human in that term. But yeah, I mean, that's all it is. It shouldn't be any farther than that. So.
Yeah, we don't really have problems with like sexuality issues. We even have teachers, I think in the past and even currently, that are homosexual. And like, there's no like disagreements between students saying, "Oh, that's wrong," and stuff like that. It's just like everybody's just. They're aware of it. No one's like have any prejudice against it.
Mm-hmm.
We also have like a club, like the Gay Straight Alliance in here, and like I've never seen a fight against like people who are homosexual and straight people, there was never been like a conflict. I think as a community, since we're so open to things, that it's never been like a problem. Like, we know who it is. Like, if you like somebody, you like somebody, that's not our problem. And like, as long as like you're okay being in this place, we're like, so our whole thing is just like, as long as you feel safe in this like community, you'll be okay. We'll like protect you as like who you are, and that's your identity. We're not gonna judge you, and that's part of our curriculum. As like in JI, we talk about a lot of like identity, and like you don't conform as like one like person. You are very fluid. Like, you're not just like, since you're straight, you're gonna be acting like you're straight. You know, you're very fluid, and that's what we talk about like this year. That's what we talk about, and that's what we're writing in our portfolios. So yeah.
If a student is just having difficulty with the work or keeping up or just not engaging, like, what happens?
There's a lot of different resources that we have at the school. For one, we have teacher office hours, which teachers leave their door open after school, and they have set times on when you can come in and ask them as many questions as you want and get any makeup work that you need. And you can have one-on-one time with them if you need it. And we have after-school program with study hall. We have tutors that go. So if a student's struggling at the school, they won't be struggling for long if they're looking for resources, because it's an endless amount of anything that you need, but the student just has to go out and find it. So.
Continuing on what Brandon said, we also have a consultancy period, which is basically study hall, but within our our advising program here at June Jordan. We hold those during our Thursday schedule, which we have 2 advisories, so 2 consultancy periods for people to work on homework, portfolios, anything that they need to work on.
Well, yeah, like, to come back to what he was saying, I feel like he said, if a student's struggling, it's up to him, because I feel like this school gives you so much help that it's up to you if you try and take advantage of that or not, you know. And it's like, for me, it's hard because I don't like asking for help, but at the same time, it's like my teachers require me, so they kind of like, for my marine biology, she's like, you guys need to have a group studies. I want to see picture. I want you guys to go and, you know, like, study in the group, because it's gonna help you for colleges. And then, like, at the same time, it's like, even if you don't like asking for help, you have to, so you learn the skills for colleges. And yeah, I feel like they give you so much help that it's up to the student if they want to take advantage of it.
At a lot of high schools, there's a lot of competition. So it's either your grade is based on doing better than somebody else, or there's that kind of pressure. How much competition is there, or is there not here?
I feel like, honestly, personally, I don't feel like no competition at all. Because I feel like everybody is just, like, on the level they want to be, you know. And as a senior, I have, like, offered my help to juniors, sophomore, and freshmen, you know. I'm like, you know what, like, I know what you're going through. I understand if you need help, I can help you. And then I always ask my friends, like, how your grades doing, how's this going, like, you know, keep them on track, because I feel like it's your community, it's your society. I mean, it's your I don't know this word. Well, it's the people that you're gonna graduate with, you know. I want to see, like, everybody on stage with me. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, this group or this person wasn't there with me. Like, I feel like it's less competition in personally, you know. Like, I don't brag about my grades, you know. Like, I want to see everybody doing good, because that's all this community is. We want to be like, it's about empowering people of color, you know. It's not about if I succeed, okay. No, it's about all succeeding, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to what she was saying, like, for instance, we don't really have a rank system like in other high schools do. I know, like, I do other programs outside of school with other schools, where they're, like, really obsessed about their ranking, where they stand in, like, the school's hierarchy of education. Is just, like, here it's just, like, I don't feel the pressure at all to, like, be better than the next person. It's just, like, I'm working there at my own pace. I'm trying to graduate just as the other person. It's just, like, yeah.
Yeah, with the whole thing you said about competition, it's definitely not competition at the school. I feel like you might feel self-pressure because, like I said, every student is different. So we're not all going to be like, oh, if you don't have an A, then you're not smart, because that's not true at all, because some people could come from a different middle school where maybe school wasn't working out for them, and maybe they got like all C's or something. But if you come to June Jordan, we're gonna help you get that C to at least a B. And if you got B's before, then we're gonna try to get that B to an A, and I mean so on and so forth. It's just about getting better by yourself, and kind of as you grow, as you keep growing as a student and as a child, as growing into a young adult. I mean that's what you're striving for. You're striving to better yourself, in a sense.
And just to add on what Jamarc said about the ranking system, at June Jordan, there is never one single person who ever got the title valedictorian at this school. So they keep that equal system and equity system in the same place always. So if when we graduate, no one's going to be valedictorian. No one. Everyone's going to be considered valedictorian, in my opinion.
What does a typical day look like here?
Typical day, 8:15 start. 8:15 start. We normally have about 3 classes a day, from Monday to Thursday, and then Friday is all our classes. But we have about 3 classes a day, so you got 2 classes in the morning, then lunch, and then either you have town hall or you have 7th period, which 7th period is elective. So you have an elective class in which you want to choose, and that ranges from a whole different list. I'm in basketball 7th period, and that's great for me because I like basketball. But yeah, so you have 2 classes in the morning, lunch, 7th period, and then you have a final class in the day, and you have advisory. You have advisory every day, and so yeah, that's basically a typical day. On Friday, it's all your classes, and they're 55 minutes.
What would you change?
I feel like I would like. It's not that I would change, but I feel like we need a lot of more like money. Like I don't want to be like but I feel like resources. We need a lot of that because I feel like this school is great, but if we have more resources, we'll be like way more great. Like I feel like there's a lot of like computers. Like computers. We need a lot of computers. Some of the computers don't work, and people like they don't have computers at home or the resources. The bathrooms, it's like so many like things that I would change. I would say the food, like I don't like the food here, and I feel like but yeah, it's like just having more sports, more opportunities for people. Like we're fighting for off-campus lunch. We're fighting for like our senior trip, because we don't have a senior trip to make prom better. So you just feel like it's just having more resources, because I feel like as a small schools we don't have resources or money for us to do a lot of things, but we're still great. You just feel like we need resources.
Aside from all the necessities that we need from funding, I think academically we need to change our math curriculum and science curriculum, because we are very falling behind through our math and science standards. Because of the fact that we focused a lot on social justice. There's also the drawback on like how we're doing in our ACTs and SAT scores. And so I think, our unorthodox style should be changed, should be tweaked a little so that we can be successful in those classes as well in college. Because I know some of my friends who are in college now and have gone through the system in June Jordan are averaging about a C in the class. So I think our math and science classes should be improved more.
Also jumping on that, I feel like our whole reputation should be changed a little bit, because I do know a lot of people who will look at our school and just judge our school off of our test scores. And like I said before, our school isn't about the test scores. I mean, definitely test scores are a big thing, obviously, if you're trying to get into college and stuff. But a lot of people don't come here and maybe sit down and talk with some students that they don't even know and try to get an understanding on what our school is like. So a lot of people really don't know what it's like. They'll look at the outside in, look at that paper, look at the words on the paper and be like, oh, well, that's June Jordan. Like, no, it's not just that. So I feel like just the whole understanding about our school needs to be changed. Stuff like this needs to happen more often.
I'd like to also add what Brandon said was like a lot of people judge us by our test scores as well. It's just like, for example, when I talk to people about my school, they're like, oh, isn't that a bad school? Because like their test scores are so low. And it's just like, as Brandon said as well, like we're not focused primarily on our test scores. It's mainly like helping everybody achieve to graduate. But also, yes, I'd also like to add that better curriculum for the math and science so that we can do better on the national test-wise. It would be great.
Say more about that. Where do you see the problem around the math? You both mentioned that.
Like, I know, for example, for me, when I'm taking like the ACT or SAT, I only know to like answer a good half or 40% of the questions because that's all the knowledge that I have more about for the math curriculum. While the other ones, they're completely unknown.
Okay. You feel like there's things that haven't been covered that you then run into on your college test.
And yeah, like he was saying, but the reason why it's kind of so hard to change the math and science curriculum is, like I've said before, people are all on different levels. So, I mean, if you have someone in the class that is like, I'm ready, let's move on, like that really can't happen because you might have about 4 or 5 other kids that are like, wait, what are we talking about? And so as much as I want to say, like, I wish there was a different system for it, I mean, it's kind of something we're just going to have to struggle with until we find out how it's going to work to still be school for equity, but not be like, all right, we're just going to push forward. If you don't know it, you don't know it. So, I mean, that's the biggest struggle with it. That's the main problem with it. But I don't think there's going to be a solution for it, like, right now. But there definitely has to be something done in the future. So.
How does your family feel about you being here? Are they supportive? Has it been a struggle with them?
My family, especially my mom, really, really loves this school. It's because she gets to talk with my advisor. Since we have a parent-teacher conference, she knows what I'm going through and what I'm doing right now as a grade, since my advisor focuses on grades and portfolios and like portfolio presentation. My parents love this school because they get updates on what we're like having and what comes up and what I need to work on and how is my stress level, how is my emotional and physical and like mental health. It's not just like, oh, you're stressing, oh, it's okay, like that's part of high school. They're like, oh, you're stressing, do you need to like have a break? What do you need to do in order to like your stress level to like be like lower? And that's what like why my parents chose this school, is because they're college ready and they're like, they care about your students and everything. So yeah.
The reason why I want to touch this question, mighty anxious, is because coming from middle school, I had a lot of good grades and I was an athlete. So my grandma wanted to get me into a private school or some kind of private school because she knows that would be like a better sports program, better education system. And when I came to June Jordan, sure, it's close, but she kind of didn't understand. Like, she was one of those people to look at the school and be like, oh, well, why are the test scores so low? And then she would always be like, oh, well, you guys aren't blah, 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 blah. And then in my 10th grade year, she came to my portfolio presentation and saw me present, and she just sat there and cried. So she kind of got she got the whole understanding of what it was, but it took her a little while. But yeah, she definitely sees what the school is about now. So yeah.
Well, my mom, she loves the school too because she's seen the improvement in my grades. When I transferred, I was doing good in my school, and coming here, it's like I have all A's. I'm involved in my community and in my school. But at the same time, it's hard because I learned so much about social justice that I want to I want to tell them everything, but at the same time, they don't understand because they're kind of like closed-minded. And I tell them like, oh, this is going on. But then they're like, oh, but it's not happening to us. So why do we care? But at the same time, it's like, I feel like it's kind of hard because they don't go to the school. They don't understand that this is going to affect my society. This is going to affect my, I just had that word again. The people I grew up with. And it's just like, I feel like they do, but they only see like my grades. Okay, you're doing good, but they don't see like what is really going on in my mind, like my things. They don't understand that. Like, I want to tell them, but it's like they're so close-minded that it's kind of hard to connect with them about like what I'm learning in the school.
All right, go ahead.
I also like to add, like, I know for my family, my mother, she really loves the school because before, like in my middle school and elementary school, I was kind of just another African-American kid just being filtered through the system, probably destined to drop out by the time I reached high school. But coming here, it was just like my grades improved. I was actually able to get help. And I'm also, like, all the social justice things that I learned in class, I actually take it back home and educate my mom, my grandparents about it. Where I actually get into a lot of debates with my grandfather about politics of the U.S. and stuff, and it's just like it's very fun, like just having like more deep, meaningful conversations with my family members.
All right. So a lot of the conversation about education policy is we need more testing, harder standards, all that kind of stuff. If there's one thing that you would say to listeners or to policymakers that they aren't really getting about education, what's the one message you would want to say based on your experience here?
Instead of prisons, let education liberate a lot of students, young people of color, everyone. But more importantly, try to change the curriculum to a better understanding of the real world, because not a lot of people who are coming out of high school and college don't really understand the workforce a lot, and they don't really understand how the system works anymore. They just go with the flow. They ride with the stereotype of like their ethnic background, or, just basically shed light to what is really need to be there.
If I had to say something to the test makers and all that, I'd tell the test makers that that's your job. Your job is to make a test on as hard questions as you can make, so I don't go to college. But I bet I know more about social justice than that person does who's sitting there making that test, because he doesn't know what we're talking about. He's not in our classrooms. And like Renz said, if you want to see better stuff, maybe give us more funding, because we are a nonprofit school. And I mean, we're doing the best that we can with the resources that we have, and I feel like that's how it should be in any type of situation. We shouldn't be moping around because we don't have the stuff that other schools might have, but we're making the best out of it, and we're doing a pretty good job at it. So,
Thanks.
I would also just say that, like, having, like, classroom-based discussions in class, because, like, people think that, like, oh, having a quiet classroom, it means that you have a good classroom, but actually it could be the other way around, where, like, the teacher just says stuff, but the students don't really have to listen because they can just, like, say, oh, I don't have to listen to this. So just ask, like, probing the students to have more discussion, maybe help people get more active in their communities by having discussion-based stuff in their classrooms.
All right, nice. Thanks for that.
All I wanted to say is that people learn different ways, and I think people learn the best way when they interact with people and discuss things that actually goes on with their heads, instead of writing in a bubble, filling it in, going to the next page, writing a bubble, filling it in, And that's what I love about, like, June Jordan, is because, like, we don't, like, really want students to, like, be anxious to make tests. We know that they're going to do good because they're smart people. We just want to, like, say to the test makers that, like, learning and memorizing is not the only way that people are smart. They're smart in different ways that they want to talk. And for teachers who thinks that like a quiet class is a good class, it really isn't, because you're not having students participate in your class and actually learning. But students participate because they want to say something. Teenagers want to talk a lot. We talk a lot. We make up. We, like, we mess up. But, like, we agree that we messed up and we learn from that mistakes, and that's what, like, a school should be about. Like, learn from your mistakes. You're not wrong. You're not dumb for getting a wrong answer. You're smart because you made a mistake and now you're gonna correct it. That's what I want to say.
For me, I feel like I would say that your test scores and your grades doesn't define who you are. A lot of people struggle. They have a lot of things that are going on in their life, and who is making the test is not really thinking about it. Probably there's classmates, their family member died, and they don't have the right mindset to be thinking about tests or to study. There's other people that they have to support their family and they can come to school, but they don't think about that when they're making the test. So for me, it would be like instead of like wasting so much time making those tests and the questions, that you like waste the time to like get the time and talk to us about it. Talk to us and tell us like what is going on with us in our life. Because I do bad at testing. I do bad at testing because they put so much important in that test. They're like, okay, this test is going to decide if you go to this college. It's going to decide if you get into this college. So that's when I get nervous. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I can't do this. But I feel like if they would just get a chance and talk to the person, or at least, like, tell us about your story. Like, a personal statement, I feel like is better than testing, because testing is just not good.